Hello, everybody, and welcome to the inventory. I'm your host, Detective Johan, also known as Rinka Best Girl, and with me today, I have my co-host, as usual, SPNatI. Why don't you say hello?
I thought Craig was your co-host.
Craig is the person who does the recording.
Craig is the unsung hero.
Yeah.
Because we couldn't get legitimate recording software to work.
I tried, it failed.
I believe we had to re-record an episode because of that.
Yeah.
And Underscore was on that episode.
So,
that was sounding familiar.
Yeah. Speaking of Underscore, why don't you say hello?
Hello.
Alright. And the
Who
other
are you?
returning... The Span asked who you are.
Well, that's a great question. On a journey of self-discovery, I am the creator of Amy, Vriska, currently deceased, and I've worked on Wii Fit Trainer. I've worked on Natsuki, and I am currently working on Ruby. And I hope I'm not leaving anybody. Oh, I also made the model for Lynn, or at least helped make it.
Alright. And the other guest is returning is Pivotal Cog. Why don't you say hello?
That's me. I'm Pivotal Cog. I'm a Reddit and GitLab moderator, and I'm also the creator of a number of characters. I made Mia, Altena, Pit, Mahiru, Coco, and most recently, Larshell.
Yeah, Laura Shell was part of the Heroes update, which came out yesterday.
We'll get to that in a bit.
Yeah, we will.
Making this podcast a little more difficult.
Couldn't you have just made it some play on the Extreme Exhibitionist update? I don't know, what would you call it?
Just the Extreme E update.
Perfect. The Extreme Meme update.
E. Just the letter E.
Make it based on this podcast.
The E update.
With introductions out of the way, let's get on to characters that were added to the game and testing. First up was Emi from Katawa Shoujo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
She was the new girl for a few days, and then she was totally overshadowed by, three other girls coming onto the tables, but...
There's a week in between, I think. Underscore, why don't you start us off with your thoughts on Emi?
Well, I like having a character from Katsuo Shoujo finally show up. It's been talked about for a while.
My pride.
Wait, she's already in. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Not the first time it's happened, it's just the first time it's happened to me.
Let's just call that verbal lemon. But Emmy is plenty fun. She's just as flirty as she is.
That's why you remember.
Oh yeah, definitely. But I feel like she still needs to have some work done on her legs besides the obvious. She does have those placeholder images in there. Well, okay. All right. That was probably misspoken. But I know
she
that...
She really needs a leg to stand on.
I know that it wouldn't be true to her character to base everything off the fact that she is missing both her legs. There's a word for that. But I feel like if I was somebody who hasn't played it and didn't know what her deal was coming in, that it would be a total surprise when she removed her socks. I feel like it might need to be explained a little bit more. That's just my impression about her so far.
Well, it does say in her description.
Oh, it does?
And in her dialogue, at least when I played her, she mentioned that there was a car accident.
Yeah, she says in her first stripping lines, I think.
Now, what we learned from Chihiro is that people do not read the description.
Oh yeah. You need to
It's just
keep
like,
reminding
what,
players about
this
things.
guy's a dude? They didn't even read, like, the gender label. He's literally one of the first boxes available about him, and they didn't read
Yeah.
it.
Or the fact that Chiaki's calling him a dude the whole time. Or it might have been other characters, but I just remember Chiaki saying it and thinking, wait, was he using the gender change thing? Do we have the gender change thing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
that's
All right.
why he
I
was
haven't
made
played
to
with
show
it
it
yet.
off.
Oh, okay. Well, I think Chiaki breaks that and calls him a dude before anything happens.
Chiaki knows him.
Yeah, it makes sense. Oh, but I feel like
Now I have
something
to
that
target
writers
them.
need to keep in mind is that there's 4 characters saying all kinds of crazy things constantly. If you want someone to remember something that's important about your character, you need to bring it up a lot. You need to have it be a constant thing, and if they have like a strip sequence where something is explained, it kind of breaks things if there's like targeted lines there. Not saying that Emmy does. I totally don't even remember her first strip sequence. Sorry, but you kind of need to keep harping on it. Not so much as to make it like their core thing, if you don't want that to happen, but enough that the player actually remembers.
You gotta wonder, like, what possesses a person. Say, I know absolutely nothing about this character. I'm going to pick them and not read any of the information about them. And then I'm going to complain when something unexpected happens.
Well, I mean, who's Maya? Or is it Maya?
Maya. You just said Maya twice.
I said Maya the second time because she's got those 3 vowels.
Maya.
Yeah,
Maybe it's
Gripthong.
Yeah, but I don't know if you've noticed, but she has a description, and you can read it.
I really haven't noticed that.
I hope it wouldn't surprise you that she's a woman.
Whoa. God, man. You can't just drop these truth bombs on somebody that you invite onto a podcast. It's very rude. Anyway,
I know, I should have given you time to prepare. I know she doesn't really talk about men at all, so.
Oh, God. What is her feelings on that? I don't even know. But anyway, I feel like we've gotten sidetracked. Who's got the next opinion
Welcome to
on
the
Emmy?
podcast.
Cog.
So full disclaimer, I haven't played Patois Shoujo, but I think that Emmy is a really cute character. Like, she's bubbly and energetic, just like I'd expect her to be. And I think her gimmick with her legs is kind of cute, how she doesn't give up. And there isn't really much to say. She's an enjoyable character for what she is. That's pretty much all I've got to say.
All right then, SPNatI, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Let's see. I think she's a lot of fun, but she's a little repetitive. I definitely think she could sort of take some of those generic cases and fill them out a bit more. You know what I mean? Like, did anyone else get that impression?
Yeah.
Especially with 8 layers. Like, she was in the game for a long time, and like just kind of saying the same thing over and over. I did like what she said. Definitely a lot of personality. Polar opposite of Hanako. And
yeah, pretty much.
Definitely sort of gelled into the game a lot better, and I was interested in what she had to say. She held my attention. But yeah, I think just rounding her out a little bit better and sort of getting some really good detailed interactions going. I think you got a winner. It's really nice to see a new creator come in and really pull it off like that, just out of the gate.
Yeah, Corky
she's
did
she's showing a lot of promise.
Strong start for Corky.
Yeah, I remember thinking that I was done updating Hanako for the update that pierces the heavens, and then all of a sudden Corky messaged me saying, "How do I add a character to testing?" And I'm like, "Oh, I guess I'm back in." I didn't ever play Emmy's route, and she doesn't really show up in Hanako's that much. I can remember, as I remember. So I don't know her as well as I should, but I think that from what I remember, when she shows up before the route gets picked, she's pretty much exactly as I remember that. So I think that she's pretty in character. Then yeah, she's cute, competitive. Another kata I should.
She's definitely, if somebody asked me which characters I'd expect to show up in a strip poker game from Katsuo Shoujo, it'd either be her or Lily. I wouldn't actually have expected Hanako to show up. Because Emmy's got this whole, I can't think of the word for it. She has this phrase that she says in the game that she is a healthy young woman or something like that, and she's very interested in getting it on.
I think you're talking about Lily, and it's a healthy adolescent sex drive.
Oh, that's right. It's been a while since I played it, but still, Emmy's very interested in getting on. Lily is got this whole exhibitionist streak kind of thing going. Meanwhile, the other characters I wouldn't really expect to be showing up in this game. Not to say that Hanako doesn't belong here or anything. I feel like you can make any character fit into this with good writing. But it just kind of felt like if somebody was going to write someone, I was kind of expecting her.
So, yeah, I like Emmy. I'm interested in seeing her without with the placeholder images when those are gone. And I'm both looking forward to and dreading the Hanako interactions that will continue to be written. The next character to get the next character change to happen was Akko from Little Witch Academia getting added in the game. Underscore, why don't you start us off?
Akko is pretty fun. I loved her model, especially all the random transformations. I'd be a hypocrite to say that I'm not after writing Vriska. But I
Does
got
Akko
this
transform into Vriska? Because that's a nice little bit of meta.
Not yet.
Nope, not yet. I guess not. But she did feel a little bit so random. I know that's like part of her character is being kind of ditzy. But when it came to her transformations, and I've only played her once, but I feel like she never explained what the hell was going on. And then on top of that, none of the people she was playing with, because she's a new character, had any targeted lines reacting to it. So it was just, okay, she's something now, and now she's back. Huh. That happened. And I feel like she needs to harp on what's actually happening all this time. She keeps saying these faux Latin phrases, and I'm not sure why. I get that they're Harry Potter spells because she's totally a Harry Potter, but I wish that she explained herself a little bit more.
All right.
I want to see Akko break out that Expecto Patronum. See what pops up.
It's a mouse, I bet.
Does she target Hermione?
I think so. I remember that I wrote the initial batch of targeted lines, and I'm pretty sure I targeted Hermione.
Remember when Hermione was like one of the most popular characters, and you definitely needed to target her?
She used to be some pager.
I think that was before my time.
Remember when the front page was like Samus, Hermione, Zontan, and Captain Falcon?
That was definitely before my time.
Well, she might make a comeback. BK and Frost are working on a collaboration on her. The model looks pretty cute, though it still needs a little bit of work. That's assuming that the collaboration ever finishes. I know that characters get brought up, models made all the time, but if there's no writing done, then, it doesn't go anywhere.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Cog, what about you? Thoughts on Akko?
Well, I said my piece on her last time, complete with an F-bomb. And my thoughts are pretty much consistent
Wait, what?
to
Oh,
what she is today. Like, she's still cute and energetic. Her transformations are pretty adorable. I like her constant good energy she gives off. She has cute interactions with characters like Pin and Natsuki. And overall, I just think she's a really solid addition to the core game.
All right. SPNatI, what about you?
so I made a trigger character, a trigger protagonist. I have not seen Little Witch Academia, and I can tell that Akko's artists had a ton of fun with her, with all the different outfits and all the transformations and things, and the effects that on her wand and stuff. And later on in the forfeit, like changing colors and stuff, like the sweat. Like, it's pretty good, but as far as like as far as the writing goes, I kind of have to echo underscore here. Like, her lines are very long, and she says a lot, and she rambles a lot. And at the end of the day, I have no clue what this bitch is saying. I have no clue what the fuck she's talking about ever. I don't know. Even now, after playing a few games with her, I have a hard time describing her, or like who she is, or what she does, or why she constantly feels the need to brag about herself. Like, I guess she has magic, but like, don't a lot of people have magic where she is?
Not really. Like, Akko kind of
don't get
starts out the series as a muggle. Like, she has no magical talent at the very beginning of the series.
Why does she have a giant rod?
Because it's the chosen one thing.
Why is she the chosen one? The chosen one
She's a
to do
Harry
what?
Potter.
To do what?
To be a lesbian, according to the fan art.
All right, I'm on board.
To
I don't know why that takes a
reawaken
prophecy, but okay.
to reawaken some ancient magic, I think, is like seven forgotten spells.
Like,
It's one of
I don't
those
know.
animes that I always think I need to watch that, but then it's on
Never
Netflix,
do.
and I never think about watching anime on Netflix.
Like, she transforms into all these different things, and she talks about herself, and she keeps going on, and the lines are so long, and I don't know. I just don't get anything out of it. I have no
Alright.
clue what's going on with her.
Well, I happen to know for a fact Nmask listens to these episodes, so
Calling you out.
he knows what to do now.
I
Plug
don't
when.
know. I just, as an outsider, I just have no clue what her deal is, or like why she's like, what's motivating her to say the things that she's saying. Why is she transforming? I don't know. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of context that she should be providing for the things that she's doing and saying, and it's just not there. Or maybe it's just getting lost and my eyes are glazing over because I have a short attention span and can't get to the end of a long line. But I don't know.
Well, sometimes the line goes behind her head, but that happens with not just her, but a lot of new characters. Is you don't really know how long this line's going to be until it's in the game.
No, you have a preview. You can preview the text now
Well, you do now,
in the
but
character editor. So
A lot of Akko's lines were made before that.
yeah. Well, even before that, I always tried to eyeball how long a line is in comparison to all the other lines and try to make them about the same, or like not go past a certain point.
yeah. It also helps to always try to keep your line to one statement, and if what your thought is can't be stated in one statement, then either break out the markers and do something fancy, or maybe try to think of a new thing to say. Otherwise, it's just going to get confusing if you have like two different statements in the same line. Because now the player's being faced with 5 statements that they have to read for this round instead of just 4. Or if it's a swap cards hand, then 9.
Yeah, you really got to edit things down.
I
bit
kind of
short.
feel like
a line
SPNatI would be
focused.
better if you only had 3 characters at a time. But I also know that there's such prevalence of 4-character groups. Like there's Ruby, there's I feel like some of the Fire Emblems might have 4 characters to the same game now. Oh, no? Oh, then I just don't know jack about Fire Emblem. But
They're all the same.
They're not.
They all look the same.
I mean, there's Rinka, there's Chiaki.
How come there's no
There's
Fire
not much
Emblem?
difference between them.
Chiaki's not from Fire Emblem.
It's basically Fire Emblem.
Oh
Not even-
God!
not even
When are we
a
gonna get
little.
a Danganronpa and Fire Emblem crossover?
Probably never.
I'd play it.
This is the first time I've actually heard someone pronounce that.
Danganronpa?
Yeah, every time I read it, it either comes out as Danganronpa or Dang Ropes.
Dang it, Ron Paul. Yeah. Listen, if that crossover happens, half this server is just going to explode.
Another half of the server is going to ask them to find a new server, please.
This that would be like Elvis meets the Beatles for the SPNatI server.
On the topic of Rinka, why don't we move on to her model update? Since it was the fourth of the Heroes update, also known as the update that pierces the heavens.
Well, call me crazy, but I believe there's someone on this podcast who thinks she's best girl.
Wild! Glad that we have a man with taste here. So, Underscore, why don't you start us off with your thoughts on new Rinka?
Well, as always, Rinka looks better than she did before. You keep polishing her, and she keeps getting better. Oh, I love how her hair currently looks. It's great. I've got 2 critiques with her model to bring up. Well, 1 critique with her model, 1 critique with her posing.
Is it the flex pose?
Yes, you saw my bug report. But I mean, not just there, but there's various places where I feel like a little bit of shape theory might help out. I'm not sure if it's called shape theory, but like try to go for right angles when you want something to look strong. Make her have straight lines and boxes and stuff like that. I feel like I'm rambling and making people's eyes roll back, but do you get what I mean?
No, I'm not an artist or anything of the sort, so I don't quite understand, but I think I can try and understand when I've got more time.
All right, well, I'll give a little brief idea about it. When you're trying to give an impression with a pose, you want to have that speak to the viewer on a subliminal level of what this pose is all about. Like if you want a character to look uneasy, you use a lot of curves, you make it confused, you make it a little off balance. If you want a character to be strong, you give them a firm foundation, you give them a lot of straight lines, you have them stand straight tall. If you want to have a character look a little sly, then you might have them lean a little bit. You might have them be more of a triangle than a square.
Operative word is a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that's an argument for the comments, but
What comments?
Well, the comments that come after every time I post something, but so that might be a critique against my critique here. But right angles are nice and strong, and I feel like any time that you can have her having a right angle, especially in confident poses, would be great for her character to show off how firm, steady, and powerful she is. My other critique with her is that everything seems to have been updated except for her pants, which look so bizarrely default compared to everything else that's so custom.
Well, yeah, because I'm not sure what her pants look like under the pauldrons.
Well, this is a chance for you to get creative. Also, she called the pauldrons. That's the belt thing around her butt, right?
Around her general waist, but yes.
All right, she called it a belt in my last playthrough, which seemed weird since she had a belt underneath her belt, and I know there's not like a belt limit. You there's no law saying that you can't wear two belts, but it just kind of felt weird that she said, "I'm taking off my belt," and then she had another belt.
I don't think anybody targets it calling it a belt, so I could just probably call it a pauldron after she gets quick passed.
Yeah, and to be honest, you could just you can have her call it whatever you want. Have other people call it something different if you wanted to.
True.
Anyway, those are my thoughts on Rinka.
All right. Cog, what about you?
I echo a lot of the same sentiments as Underscore. She seems generally improved in every area, and considering I played Fate, she looks pretty source accurate now, which is always a nice bonus. One thing I will complain about, though, is her skin color is still off compared to Fate's. Like in Fate, she's more of a tannish color compared to the darker skin tone she has in SPNatI, but I'm not sure if that's just your artistic interpretations or whatever.
It is an artistic
It's a fetish.
choice. Well, no. It's an artistic choice because I tried using the color picker
It's his
and
fetish.
it did not look good.
It's his fetish.
Sure.
Yeah, in general, she's just looking pretty good now, and I think I'll use her a lot more. And once I eventually get my face character onto the tables, hopefully she'll be in good company.
Nice.
How many Fates characters would that make?
A lot.
In game or total? Because
I don't know. In game is usually what we go for. So
well, we only have female Corrin and Renka now.
oh yeah. Press F to pay respects to male Corrin.
F.
F.
So Setsuna would make 3.
And then there's the
That's
other
too
Fates
many.
character who got canned for the Heroes update.
Oh yeah. Didn't quite make it.
Oh yeah.
By the way, I'd like to give a quick shout out to Cog while he's here, and Opal and Dorian for being able to just being great to work with and helping with making this update really special. And also shout out and thanks to Kadi, even though he didn't make it to the finish line. He did do a lot of work, and I respected that. And I'm glad that he could at least give it a try.
It was a lot of fun.
Well, you know what they say when they didn't make it to the finish line. They're still
What?
stuck in Russia.
All right, SPNatI. So, what are your thoughts on New Renka?
Well, I believe in a previous episode, I described Rinka as one of those characters that I wanted to like, but just didn't do it for me. Do you remember these events?
Yes, vaguely.
So one of the reasons for that was her model, which I think was it was a little shoddy, or just like some of the proportions like weren't quite doing it. Like she was kind of built like a barrel, like her waist
I
was
remember
too
you saying
thick.
that.
What?
I do remember you saying that, and that's specifically why I bumped her waist size down a bit.
Yeah. I'm going to be real with you. Like, the thinnest waist size in Kisake is the only one that looks attractive. Real talk.
Well, the other one
anything,
can.
anything more
if
just kind of looks
you're-
like an amorphous blob.
It depends on what you're doing with the upper chest. If you have a narrow upper chest, wide shoulders, sometimes waistline number 2 looks pretty good. Waistline number 3, I've never really seen it look good. I know that people use it a lot for male characters, but at that point,
That's a
I
male
just
character.
follow Zeus's advice and just build the waistline from scratch.
Yeah, you have to do plastic surgery on their hips.
Yeah, otherwise they don't look like people.
Yeah. I know I'm kind of being a dick for no reason here, but like I think Ryuji could use some of that. Like he currently has a little bit of the childbearing hips going on. I think like May from Night in the Woods calls him like buff or something. And I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? He's a string bean. He looks like he'd give Natsuki a good challenge in an arm wrestle. But anyway, I do think. Oh yeah, I also wanted. Yeah, old Rinka kind of had like a bit of a man chin going on, where she had like a really square jaw. I don't know.
You're
But the point
using the
is-
past tense here. Are you talking about current Rinka or
No, old Rinka had.
Okay. All right.
New Rinka looks great. I really like her look now.
Nice.
It's like an absolutely like huge improvement. I'm still not completely sold on her. It's kind of like now I'm just making enemies all across the table because I'm gonna kind of compare it to Palutena a little bit. It's sort of that situation where the model is way improved, but it seems like the poses have barely been touched. And I think half of what makes a model good is how expressive the poses are. And if you have a new model with old poses, it just makes them stand out as like kind of archaic looking even more. She just doesn't move around that much. And I'd expect a character like that to be like really dynamic and kind of exuding a lot of strength. And she just kind of stands there a lot of the time and has like a neutral expression on her face.
I guess I could just subscribe to the SPNatI school of work ethic and slowly change one pose every weeks.
Every what?
Change a pose every week or so.
Oh, I change poses all the time because I'm like, oh, this is shit. What was I thinking? Even for a pose I made like 2 weeks ago. Yeah, I agree also with sort of what Underscore was going on about, how with like the right angles, like she's supposed to like have a big power pose with like her hands on her hips, but like her arms kind of like aren't bent enough. So it's just like the little details like that where just something looks a little bit off, you know?
All right.
It's not exuding quite the correct body language, almost. That's the kind of stuff I obsess over.
I'll definitely go through and tweak some of those poses later on. Oh, one moment.
There's a lot of things that I would do in posing my own characters, like that I'd be a little more creative with some of them instead of relying on the old staples. But whenever I try it, it's just like, no, something looks wrong. I can't get over it. Something I just can't. No, it's gonna bother me.
Sorry about
I'd
that.
rather just go with what works. So I'd say just work on making her poses a little more interesting.
I'll definitely tweak them as time goes on. Right angles and whatnot.
That and her I'm not gonna say too much on her dialogue, but she kept commenting whenever someone lost
Yeah,
with
the
a pair.
high card.
No, lost with a pair.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I'll
And-
put some markers on that.
This is my pet
Or
peeve. A couple
you
other
could just
characters
have way
do it.
more lines.
Like
or priority
Thursday's
0.
characters do it, Metalitar's characters do it, and it's my pet peeve. It's like
Yeah.
really not that interesting. It happens all the time.
I think something that a lot of people could benefit from on lines like that you want them to say, but you don't want them to say all the time. It's rather than using a marker and just clogging up the whole marker report, is give them multiple ways of saying the same thing, or hell, just duplicate it. Have that line be in your character 4 times if you have to, and then make it priority 0 so that there's a chance that they might say it. And you're making more lines so that there's a greater chance that they might say it when it comes up, but they're not definitely going to say it. So that way it's not going to be getting old as much. It's just going to be oh, hey, they noticed it this time. And they can notice it again later.
That's what I would recommend, is just a priority 0. It kind of makes them sound like they don't know what they're doing. I don't know, maybe that's what you want, but it's like, really? You were super confident with a pair of 3s?
Alright, well, thanks for the feedback. I'll definitely be using it.
The model is like fantastic. It's just some of the posing
Yeah.
lacking.
Yeah, I really proud of the model. Let me look up the exact day I made the first Rinka model versus the day I made the new one.
Well, that's kind of the thing with big model updates is that like once you finish the model, you're all super proud of it, and you want to just kind of like sort of like immediately apply it to all of your existing poses, so you can move the model out and into the game. But then if you don't like take the same critical eye to the poses themselves, it can kind of make it look bad.
That's why I've got that new Amy model that everybody complimented me on, but I haven't applied it yet because I'm going to have to remake all those poses, and if I'm going to be remaking the poses, all the clothes flying off, I'd want that to be animated.
I think Amy's poses are pretty good.
Well, you can think that. I feel like they're decent.
I'm sure your tastes have changed since fall 2017.
So the first Rinka model was made on August 18th, 2017. I finished the new model on May 4th, 2019. So, quite a gap.
And the Force was with her.
A second part of the Heroes update was Chiaki's model update.
Which some people on 4chan failed to notice.
Yeah. Underscore?
Well, yep, knew I was coming first. So, now I've already sent you a message regarding this, regarding the various model tweaks that I would like to see. Something that's just overall in this new model and kind of in previous models, but like with the whole clothes ripples that you're going for now on her shirt, it's just kind of hammered in, is that it's kind of got this hard look to it, which contrasts with the soft look that I think she kind of deserves. The hard little black lines that are in there could be softened up to a less harsh color. Also, anytime that they could go from a line to being more of a triangle, to be just a little gentler kind of look. Anytime that you can kind of put a curve in there instead of a straight line, make her look less like a rock and more like a squishy pillow that you want to hug. I do appreciate all the work that you've put into on the creases and stuff like that. Her hair looks better now, I think. I just feel like the contrast in colors is a big thing that you could work on. And I'm not sure how fitting it is with the Dang Ropes official art for her, but trying to soften the art style a little bit. I know that Dang Ropes is pretty harsh in there. Like that feels like a wrong word for it, but it's a very high contrast, big shapes kind of art style. That may or may not be helping you here.
So I think her update is more on the subtle side, where it's not like as immediate as Rinka's, but it's also very well done. Like you can notice a lot of the smart details now, like between the backpack, the hair improvements, the creases on the shirt, just a bunch of cumulative stuff that makes her really stand out, and she looks really nice next to characters like Mahiru now. And I think she deserves the model she has now. It really goes well with next to Mahiru. And that's really all I have to say on it.
I'm glad you think so, because the model was made because of the Mahiru update. All right. SPNatI, what about you?
I freely admit to that I probably also would not have noticed the difference. I do think she looks good. However, I thought that she looked good before. I do have a history of not recognizing when Chiaki has had her model changed.
That's fair. This is the fourth time, or third time, fourth model.
Because I remember a couple ACO threads ago, I put her as one of the poster girls because I thought she had recently gotten a model update. It turns out you were still planning it.
Uh-oh.
Just goes to show how much of the differences I kind of notice. I mean, maybe you could describe what you changed.
Like now?
Yes.
I tweaked her hair, tweaked her proportions. I updated her jacket. I added some shading to her face. I added some shine to her hair, and I updated her epilogue.
All right. Well, she looks good. Underscore kind of sounded like he knew what he was talking about.
Actually, I think I have a picture of all the Chiakis I've got.
So I say listen to him.
I'll definitely at least give it a try for Chiaki 4.5. See here, where are they? I swear I have a picture of just there it is.
Are you going to show all the other people listening to the podcast?
Yeah, I'll put it in.
All right.
She keeps getting shorter.
Yes, she does.
The head
She
keeps
keeps getting
smaller.
wider.
I've been making jokes for quite some time that the final Chiaki update in 2082 will just be a pancake.
Well, that's how she ends up.
Oh.
Out of all the stuff I know about Danganronpa, which is basically nothing, I do know that a pancake is very fitting for her.
Yeah.
See, I only know she gets crushed because I remember like a year ago we had that fusion contest and Kuro fused her with Diva.
Yeah.
And made an MP4 of that model getting crushed by a Tetris block.
Yeah.
I was like, why?
Tetrino.
All right. Third character, first new one of the update that pierces the heavens.
Wait.
Is...
How'd you get that band of light across her hair?
Oh, the hair shine? It's made. Which part? The curve or the one at the very top left of her hair?
The curve.
The one that's hard.
The one that is made from. It's made from 3 separate hair pieces. 2, I think, number 3s that are skewed and then rotated to make that shape, and then one of the triangle hair pieces, I think it's number 22, at the ends to fill in the gap.
I see. And then the lines on top of that, are those are separate hairs, so they're just super thin to create the illusion.
Yes.
Right? All right.
Hero's got a similar thing going on.
Yeah, and even the gap triangle is made of a hairpiece. What was that spinning on?
I got to try emulating that band of light because that's sort of in the Vandred art style.
The third character from the Heroes update, the first new one, is Cyrene from the last story made by Gordon. I think so.
I've always mentally lumped in the last story with Xenoblade Chronicles.
Well, they were part of the same localization, Project Rainfall.
Both of those in Pandora's Tower.
Yeah. So, Underscore, why don't you start us off?
I know nothing about Xenoblade. Or
She's
wait,
not
was
from-
it Xenoblade, Xenogear, Xenosaga? I don't know. See,
None
that's
of
how
those.
little I
What's
know
so
about
strange about it?
I thought she was part of that
from,
thing this man on said.
She's not from any of the Xeno games. She's from the last story.
Hey, Johan, what do you think of Xenoblade 2?
You had me fooled.
I think that I only have an hour left before I have, so I'm not going to get into a Xenoblade 2 rant right now.
Well, Cyrene, I think that's how it's pronounced, maybe. I like her model. Her hair's so fluffy. Her pants kind of bug me because it doesn't have outlines everywhere, and I feel like there could be some additional details near the bottom. Once those are fixed, her model just looks really nice. The arm tattoos, they stay on, which is pretty impressive. I know we have image imports now, but I just know from experience that the arms just twitch around and change shape just to mess with you when you move them. So I find that pretty impressive. I played her initially with Rinka, and my thought was, oh my god, are they fixing to fuck? Because they were just complimenting each other the entire game, back and forth, back and forth. Other characters were talking to them, they were just ignoring them. So that my impression of her was that she's a drunk Rinka, basically, just from my single playthrough. I have only played her once though, so I probably am not a great opinion on her yet.
All right. Cog, what about you?
I played her a few times, and obviously I haven't played the last story, but from what I've heard, she's a pretty good character. Like, as underscore said, her model is really well done. The arm tattoos are seriously impressive. As for dialogue, it could stand to be a little better. I did not play her with Rinka in my test games, but she was a bit, how do I put it? She was a bit bland from what I saw. She didn't really seem to care about what was going on, and that might just be her character, but she didn't really seem that interested in much of anything. And I think that could use some more fleshing out, maybe with more interactions, but overall, I think she has a really strong start, good model, good posing, and can't wait to see what happens next.
I'm surprised you said she was bland. I thought she was pretty fun, especially with the there's a couple people on the ACO threads that like complain that there's not enough like girls getting drunk in SPNatI. I guess they feel that's more appropriate with some strip poker going on, you know.
The thing to me is, it seemed she cared more about the drinking than the actual game.
Well, you know, that's true for a lot of alcoholics. Yeah, like I could totally see her having a ton of fun with like Misato and Sei. But
Ramilia.
oh yeah. Well, excuse me, Ramilia is drinking blood. Blood wine. Bloody Marys.
Say that 3 times.
But anyway. I don't know. She seemed pretty engaged with what was going on, in my opinion. I do think her model is like, I don't know, it's like a little wall-eyed. I think you need to like move her pupils a little closer together. It's just kind of like a niggling thing that kind of gets in the way of some of the expressions.
I got Serene early, and she had lines towards Rinka and Kamina that I made sure to respond to, so they had interactions right off the bat. I really enjoyed her. I liked her. If she lost twice in a row, towards the end, she just cries out twice in a row, and that got me laughing for some reason. See here. I think that she's definitely a new archetype of character of the mercenary. I don't think we had one before. At least not like there's no. At least not the one that either I can remember or he brings it to the party. Oh, SPNatI is just straight offline now. So I thought she was really well made. I liked her model. I could definitely tell what her job was and what her personality was like. So I liked her a lot. And it was nice to work with Dorian on this update. That's Cyrene.
Oh, hello.
Hello. All right.
The prophet returns.
I did my piece on Cyrene, so why don't you finish
what'd you think? What'd you think of her?
I thought I said it.
Well, you can check the podcast and find out.
Fuck you.
So SPNatI, why don't you finish up your thoughts?
What was I talking about?
You liked her well enough. I think was the last thing you said. You said her eyes were wandered sometimes, but you liked her tattoos. And so you were talking about the drinking as well.
Oh, so yeah, she definitely have a lot of fun with like on a table of like or whatever. But I think more than that, one of the things that I really liked about of dialect in her dialogue, it's giving her a
noticeably British.
And I think that's what a lot of characters who feel flat are missing is that they just kind of speak perfect English, to the writer's best ability anyway, and then they don't use a whole lot of punctuation. They just kind of end with a period. And like Amy is another good example where it's just really easy to give her a voice in your head, basically. And that goes a huge way to like making her interesting. Just having that grasp of how to convey emotion in writing is something that I think that could be improved in a lot of characters, and Cyrene does it really well, just right off the bat.
All right. Final character for the Heroes update is La Rochelle.
Ray.
Yeah. Underscore, why don't you start us off?
All right. Her model is beautiful. However, I'm pretty sure most of it works through imports. And while that's not by itself a bad thing, I mean, whatever makes a character, go ahead, do it. Something that I've noticed is that when imports rotate, they tend to get blurry. And so when she's rotated a little bit at just the right angle, suddenly her clothing becomes blurry. And that's a problem. I feel like a lot of her model could be made traditionally with Kisake parts. Oh, and that would cut down on that effect when it comes up. All depending on whether or not the creator wants to go into that. But that's the main flaw that I found with her model. It is a very immaculate costume. I really like it. Oh, that blur always messes with me, and it always makes me want to minimize how many imports I use on a character. As far as her characterization dialogue is concerned, now I've only played with her once so far, but it seemed to be that she didn't really reference what was going on with other people, at least in my playthrough. It could be that I just had bad luck of the draw there. She seemed to be off in her own world and seemed to be talking to herself a lot, or saying things like the player was saying to her. That I was like, I didn't say that. Fuck you. And that might have been the reaction that they were going for. So that's perfectly fine.
That is.
It just.
That's exactly what she's like in her source game. She kind of ropes people into being her goons. Like,
okay, well then it's doing it. Oh,
yeah, she has like two people. Like, one of them is like, I'm all about like working with her, and the other guy is just, I don't like being roped into working for you. See.
There was one time, I think, when she strips her staff, where she starts giving the speech about how she's a powerful princess and raises her staff, and then something magical happens, and then she doesn't comment on it, and it's just over.
Rennek is the guy that she ropes into being her little goon boy.
So, I'm not entirely sure what was going on with the staff. Was it important? I mean, she's a new character, so nobody else commented on it. She just kind of had this little light show, and then nothing happened, and that was it. And then
she has lines about
other players were complaining that she removed an accessory, and that was it. I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
She has lines about it, but I think you just got bad luck with what she said.
See, that's the kind of thing that
Yeah.
like she should always say something about that.
Yeah, it feels like one of those things that just you have to say it. She has to say some variation of what she has to say there. Because I had no idea what was going on.
Even
Then we
when
just moved on.
characters like target Ryuko's transformation or something, or like Senket's jumping off of her, I reply to those, but I always try to like also in that target response give a sense of what the generic case is.
Yeah, I
Give
noticed
someone
that
an
when
idea of what's going on.
I noticed that when I played her with Kamina.
Yeah. So new players don't get confused. Like you always have to think
Yeah.
about it in terms of like this might be someone's first game with them ever.
Yeah. And targeted lines are always kind of a trade-off because well, yeah, they do make the character feel real. At the same time, if everybody's targeting each other, then there's going to be half the cast is not being responded to, so they are just having this conversation with themselves, responding to nothing that was ever said to them. And then you just need to keep in mind the idea that maybe your targeted line is not going to be responded to. And I think I might be getting off on a tangent here. This feels like some conversation that I've had with somebody in the past, and I'm just wandering off.
You know what I'd really like to see more of in terms of character interplay now? Just seeing Lara Shell treat the player as like her personal attendant, as if she knows them. I'd really like to like. What is the dynamic of like the Kanawa Shoujo girls and then the Doki Doki girls both thinking that they know you personally?
Yeah.
Do you go to two schools? Like, do they think that you're cheating on them?
I didn't write Hanukkah like that, so
Lara Shell does have a few lines like that.
But like, wait, you didn't write Hanako as if like the player is Hisao?
no.
But
I
think
What's wrong?
I think Emmy treats him that way, right?
Oops. That's not good.
I feel like that's a thing that people could explore more. They like Spanny was saying was that you kind of should think about what's your character's relationship with the player. One thing that I like about Kizuna I or AI, I'm not sure how I was supposed to be pronounced,
Kizuna I.
was that she has this constant talking about the player, trying to figure out what the player's deal is. Then noticing how other characters are talking about the player and piecing things together, and then kind of forgetting what she pieced together because targeting's hard. But that was a neat thing, and it's something that I tried with Natsuki too, to make Natsuki just like Monica treat the player with this set idea in mind. I feel like a lot of characters could benefit from that kind of player relationship where they have an initial assumption about the player. Hopefully nothing that the player will go, that's bullshit, I don't like this. Why are you doing this? Ruined for me kind of reaction, but just something vague like, I hate the player and I want them to suffer or something like that. Classic Natsuki.
See, that's the I like doing that with my characters too, and you can see it, especially with Maya, but some of the other ones just them. I never have them have any pre-established relationship with the player. They're just a stranger that they're trying to figure out, and but it's less of a meta sense than with what Kazuna's doing. So oftentimes they'll be like, okay, wait, these girls from this literature club. But also, this fairy is like whispering shit to you. Like, are you together? Like, what is Q's deal? Revy thinks that you're like in some kind of fetish role play with Q. Like you snort cocaine off of her cleavage or something.
That sounds like a very hard place to snort things from.
And then it's just like, wait, now this princess is talking like you've known her for years. Who are you?
The most
right.
interesting man in the world.
How did you get three women here that are in these situations that are completely like non-reconcilable?
All right. Cog, as somebody who helped with this update that pierced the heavens, how about you tell us about Larachel? Larachel. Fucking, I'm not. I don't know. No one's gonna fault me for this one.
So I don't really have much to say. I brainstormed Marshall as a potential character a few months back. Eventually, Opal came up to me with an offer to help with her model work. I said okay. He created the wonderful model we have in game now. I got to work on her dialogue, and it was a slow burn. Until about a month ago, Johan came up to me. He offered to start something that would surpass the double E update. And then I just started cranking out the lines, and that's how she got to where she is now. I feel like I did a decent job on her. I think she could be better. I do hope to bump her up with some more lines before I go for sponsorship, but I do think she has a solid characterization that sets her apart from the other Fire Emblem characters in the game right now.
Oh, big agree.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Namasp mentioned this as he was playtesting her, but yeah, she definitely has sort of a unique niche in terms of personality with the whole cleric thing and declaring herself not just as like generic, like pure princess, but as like a holy woman who like she has like a duty to remain like pure and wholesome, you know?
Oh,
And like
Cog.
and not only that, but she's not like a little less embarrassed and more towards like the angry, like this is degeneracy sort
Beneath her.
of angle. That's definitely a lot of fun.
Cog, does she have the line, if I were not a holy woman, I would have been senseless?
I'm pretty sure she does.
Is she the one who
Nice.
says that in the game?
Yeah.
Yes. She says it to a different prince named Innes in one of the support conversations.
Let me find the screen cap real quick. I'll put it in this episode. Alright, so do you got more to say about working on Lara Show?
It was a lot of fun, and I will continue working on her and hopefully make her stand out.
Alright. SPNatI? Thoughts
What?
on Lara Show?
I've been talking about her this entire time.
Well, yes, but now it's now your turn. So like, do you have
I've
anything
pretty
else
much
you
said
want?
everything. Which one is the Sacred Stones? Is that Roy's game?
No, Roy's game is Binding
Blade.
Binding Blade.
The
Sacred
Binding
Stones is
Sacred Stones is Ephraim and Erica.
Blade. Is that the 8th one?
yeah,
Yes.
Okay. Still, it looks like it's still on the Game Boy Advance.
it
It's
is.
the last one on the Game Boy.
Okay. So you have the Binding Blade with Roy,
Mhm.
and then you have the Blazing Blade, right? That's the prequel,
Yeah, with Lynn.
right? And Florina. So I
Yeah.
guess first they bound everyone together. Well, no, first they toked up, and that caused everyone to be bound together. So they blazed it, and then
Sacred Stones is a
Binded them.
separate universe.
okay.
All right.
Wow, now I get to be even more confused by.
What's so
Fire
sacred
Emblem.
about the stones?
They seal the demon away.
Yeah, pretty much.
Is this like I don't know, is this like in Temple of Doom? Like those sacred stones?
They are kept in temples.
Has no one seen Temple of Doom?
It's been a while.
Did the main villain betray Shiva? I know nothing about Fire Emblem, so I'm just reaching for something to talk about here. Help me.
The main villain of Sacred Stones was the childhood best friend of the two main characters.
Oh, that's awful. But
Yep.
Ray should really beat him senseless.
She would if she were not a holy woman. I would agree with the general feedback, especially what NMAS has been saying about how this was a niche that hadn't been filled. Not only she's a cleric, but she's also kind of got that oh ho 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 laugh energy to her. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She isn't like rude, but she does give off this aura of, you could tell that she thinks that things are beneath her without being like rude about it, and I think that that's really interesting. I think in general, Lara Shaw is one of the more interesting Secret Stones characters, so she's a good pick for bringing into SPNatI, and I think that you and Opal have done a great job capturing that holy, noble woman. That's all I've got to say about that. All right. Last character that got added to testing pretty late last night is Roxy from Pokemon Black 2, White 2.
Last night for you, early morning for me.
I did not even know she was in there.
Yeah, I didn't know either.
Well,
I
feels
did
like that
before
might be something
recording
for next podcast.
Well, there kind of isn't much to say because, like you said, that a lot of her lines are just like placeholders. So I didn't play her yet. Like, what's the point if it's just gonna be a bad first impression?
Yeah, I got word from her author that a lot of her stuff isn't done yet, so this is pretty much a beta test for her, so I didn't really give her a shot once she hit testing.
Just really late for me, so I didn't get around to it.
All right then.
Guess it's time for the upcoming projects. Underscore, why don't you start us off?
Well, I'm currently working on a update to Ruby, Ruby Rose from Ruby, or I don't know how you pronounce it in Welsh, but it's not even from Welsh. So this is just a tangent that's nobody is enjoying. People have seen that I've posted her model for a while. I've been working on her for an absurdly long time, I think, mostly because I've just been so busy IRL. Niels is currently working on Weiss, and we're working closely together since I also worked on Weiss's model, and Blake and Yang for their updates as well, but that's waiting on Zuzia. And when it comes to it, I think we're going to be releasing Ruby and Weiss's updates together. Currently, I'm working a lot on making Ruby interesting, where before and in the show itself, people really critiqued her for being just kind of a generic protagonist. And as a fanboy, I feel like that's a shame because there's a lot of things that are not generic about her that I want to have shine out a bit more in her dialogue.
She's more than just normal Mies.
Yeah. I'm working on expanding her. Well, obviously her love of weapons. I can share that. Also, her leadership abilities. I'm trying to establish this gimmick where she tries to organize other members of Team Ruby if she's in a group of them, even if it's just one of them, in order to beat everybody else. And that's just a dialogue thing. And I'm not putting too much emphasis on it since she already does have a lot of targeted lines towards them. I'm really expanding the generic things that she says, and after that I'm going to be focusing on targeted lines. And I'm also trying to make her a bit more competitive, since that's something that I feel like has been left out of her character so far, is that she just really likes fighting stuff in the game, and I'm going to make her just really want to win this strip poker game as well. Did I say she was from a game? I meant from the Japanese anime. Oh, but yeah, I've also got that. Yeah, I've also got that model for Weiss, but I'm not working on posing or dialogue from her, so I can't really comment on that. And if anybody sees that model of Yang that I posted in the off-topic Discord, please critique it so that I don't have to come back and keep tweaking it. I keep forgetting to make Blake's head normal size because it's too tiny. But yeah, that's what I'm currently working on. I do have a rework of Amy in like the back burner, really far back there, burning. But I haven't really touched that in a very long time. And as people keep yelling at me, and as I have an entire question dedicated to later, there's the whole Vriska thing. So I can go over that later.
All right. Cog, what about you?
Well, I have two characters on testing right now, those being Larshell and Palutena. My main focus for now is probably going to be on Larshell, pumping up her weak areas and expanding her lines and responding to sublines before I eventually push up to sponsorship. After that, I'll probably be working with Halo to get the Palutena update good and done and get her back into the main game. And I think past that, I have two more characters that could potentially come out this year. This being Makoto Nijima from Persona 5 and Setsuna from Fire Emblem Fates. So those are in the future, but for now, yeah, I'll just be focusing on getting Larshell and Palutena done.
Alrighty. SPNatI?
Well, I've been entirely focusing on just updating who I'm working with. So I've basically made a little agenda for myself. I spent the last month or so focusing on just kind of tweaking Maya's poses and replying to any inbound lines coming into her. So hopefully that should be all good by now. Should be all caught up on that for the most part. So now I'm moving on to Revi. Once she's done, Jura, and then Ryuko, of course. Right now, at this moment, and which I interrupted to get on the podcast, is I'm working on redoing Revi's epilogue to make it longer, a little more detailed, a little more dynamic and interesting with what happens, and a little better paced, and using the new engine to sort of cut down on that file space size. That way I can actually give her new poses in the future, because she's currently over the 11 megabyte limit, but it's only because I haven't retooled the epilogue. So that's sort of priority number one. Get that out of the way. And that's good for the game too. Save some space.
Cool.
And then I'll just be working once I got all the those big responses out of the way that are sort of outstanding. Then I'll be updating Maya's and Jura's models, which is going to coincide with epilogue updates for them too, since I got to change all the models anyway. And then just
the SPNatI Piercing Heavens update.
What?
SPNatI Piercing the Heavens update.
I guess, but it'll be Vandred, so nobody will care.
I think that we'll care.
I mean, they're practically SPNatI OCs at this point. They are just the characters that we put on the side of the game box.
If you want to sell copies, you should probably put Samus on the side of the box.
Yeah, Sans Hermione.
We say that, but there's plenty of popular characters that are actually in character now.
Mm-hmm.
So really, just kill her. Just put her out of her misery. And tell anyone who enjoys them that they should feel bad.
I can already feel Enmasp responding to this.
You literally have characters that are the actual characters that are just as popular as Samus. Well, or at least almost. And they're in the game and you can play with them instead. How do you choose Samus for more than one game and put them next to them and not see the difference there?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's me. Just updates. Because I'm sick and tired of starting something new and then having to chase everything else. and play catch up, and just I want the freedom to, when something new comes out, just like I don't want to like have to catch up on something else. I just want to be able to engage with that new thing right away. That's what I really enjoy most. So that's what I want to be able to do.
All right. Now that I finished my update, I'm gonna wait and see if Shiaki and Rinka get quick pass, and if they do, I will take a small break before moving on to Junetta and Dante if Halo gets the when Halo gets the model done, rather. If they don't get quick pass, I guess I'll continue working on them and get them. And then after that, who knows what the future may hold. Probably Aegis late this year. But that's about it from me. With that out of the way,
Are you going to explain who Aegis is?
oh, the Sword and Shield protagonist. But even then, that's only a Schrodinger's character, because if the game comes out and she's not eligible...
Johan.
Schrodinger?
Schrodinger.
Schrodinger, alright. If the game comes out and Aegis is not eligible for SPNatI, then I won't be making her, obviously. Fingers crossed on that.
Oh.
So, that's that. And with that, we can move on to questions and answers.
Oh, thank God.
And I've got about 25 minutes left, so I will definitely not be making it to the end.
No, let's just speed run this shit.
Alright.
Shortest episode in a while.
Underscore, Vriska Wen. She's my favorite character and I want her to be found.
Well, thank you for volunteering. I would love to have your help with her. I mean, truth be told, I am kind of, if Yuri ever wants to write for her, I will throw myself at her feet. But, she's pretty intimidating to write for. I need to set aside, like, a long period of time just to do the lines and then get them into the game, because I have to write them 23 times for every single case that makes her gimmick work. If there was some sort of software-based solution that could do this automatically for me, she would be updated within the month. She would be in the game. It would be over with. And but I don't know how to do that. I'm just constantly wishing that the character editor will someday support characters like Vriska and do it automatically for me. Until then, it's just that constant truckload of work to add one line to her that's waiting in the back of my mind.
What project would you want to collab with Napsu on? Anyone else can answer, but basically for COG.
Definitely not asked by Napsu.
Of course. So I would want to work with her on anything, but here's what I read about her piece. She likes public characters. She likes visual novels.
But she likes ugly characters?
Bubbly.
Oh.
Bubbly. Champagne.
So if there was one character I would ask to collab with her on, I have to say Sasha Buckler.
Ooh, that could be good.
So if you want to learn more about that anonymous contributor, let me know.
That definitely looks like a character y'all would work on together. That definitely looks like it.
I'd like to see that. All right. With that, I guess move to the next question. Which former podcast guest did you like the most? Underscore?
Technically the question is, which voice did you like the most? And I have absolutely no idea, so I pass.
Okay. Cog, what about you?
I have to say Halo, mostly because not only is it really smooth to listen to, but he's also, like, just overall... Well, I used to live in an area close to him, so he was basically remind me of home, for lack of a better way to put it.
Oh, that's wholesome. All right. SPNatI, what about you?
My voice.
You're on every episode, so it's hard to count you as a former voice.
Why do you think I listen to them all? Why do you think I participate so I can hear my own voice?
All right, valid.
I don't know. It's tough to reflect upon everyone's voice. Arntress had a pretty interesting voice.
Yeah. Didn't sound as Australian as I thought he would.
No, I'd say who sounded more Australian, Misty or Arndress?
Probably Mystic a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say Misty.
Okay, seriously, is it Misty or Mystic?
It depends on if you're adding the K at the end.
Yeah, it's just a abbreviation, nickname.
It's probably Misty
Technically.
since the K goes into Mystic Knight or Misty Knight, so it's probably unless it's like a double. So who knows?
Yeah, you're all doing it wrong. It's Mystic Knight, obviously.
Anyway, that's my answer.
I think that even like this goes beyond just his voice, but also in the way he types. Is like Nmasp has a way of saying things that just sounds so appealing. Like it's been said before. Yeah, well, even then, I wouldn't say that. Like you could say "go fuck yourself" in a way that would like make you like, well, I might take him up on that. So yeah, I'd say Nmasp for my answer. Next question is, if you could choose one offline character to be unlocked via collectible, which one would you choose and why?
Is there really any choice but Gay Spaghetti Chef?
Well, I was thinking the seasonals, especially if we like had more seasonals than just April Fools, would be great ones for that. Like if we had Christmas seasonals or Valentine's Day seasonals or something, or like if costumes were included in that, then being able to unlock somebody's costume through that would be kind of neat. Granted, you could just download it and do it yourself, but
All right.
It's not in the same vein, but I think it'd be amusing if you could unlock by completing Revy's epilogue.
What's happening?
Unlock by completing Revy's epilogue.
Oh God. No, it's not Bai. It's just Bai's cousin.
Do you have another answer to that, Cog? Or
No, that was pretty much it.
all right, SPNatI, what about you?
Well, I said Gay Spaghetti Chef.
Yeah, he opened.
Yeah, I know. It's just that's one of those answers that you have to wonder: is this a joke or not?
Well, really, it's like it's kind of the same debate that we had with like who was Yuri going to bring back with her contest reward. She chose Gay Spaghetti Chef because really, like, none of the offline characters are very remarkable. That's kind of why they're offline. Because nobody cares about them.
I don't say that. There are a couple
At least
of
my poor heart.
Gay Spaghetti Chef
I've
is
got like heartburn or something.
memorable
Jeez.
because he's awful.
Is this what heartbreak feels like?
What?
because Vriska's offline. There's some.
Vriska's not offline. She's incomplete.
Same thing.
Are we counting them?
I guess. If not, then I'd say Shantae. If we're counting incomplete, then I don't know. Janetta and Captain America are the ones that come to mind to me.
Oh yeah, definitely Captain America. I've occasionally gotten into the game going like, "Oh, I want to play with Steve," and then, oh, I have to play offline.
He did leave quite the impression for basically being on there for a very short time over a year ago.
I mean, like, he is the dude. I mean, there's like Jin and all,
He's
but
the
Jin isn't
dude.
like the dude. Jin is like, well, okay. Jin's more of the dude, but Steve is more of the
He's
man.
the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
All right. What are your favorite contributions you've made to the
Maya.
underscore?
Oh, I'm not sure if I can take credit for this alone, but when I first released Vriska, not Vriska, for the Amy, I released her with a gimmick in mind, and after that, I believe that there was this big explosion of gimmicks into the game where people stopped making characters just because they were popular or just because they're their waifu, but because they had something interesting that would change things up in the game. I really like that. I do feel like there's a dark side to it. Like I am the greatest offender of making characters that you have to target because their gimmick is just so bizarre and out there. Oh, but I feel like uh, that's something that should be taking a precedent when you're asking yourself what kind of character you want to make for the game. Is what is this doing for the game? What's this doing for the player? How's this character unique and doing something that you can't get anywhere else? And I feel like I at least helped that start to becoming a thought that people were thinking about when they chose characters to make.
All right. Cog, what about you?
I want to say Pitt mostly because I like to think that he kickstarted the sort of renaissance of good men in the game.
Hmm.
I think I'd agree with you on that.
And I think he's overall just one of my strongest overall creations to the game in general. Like, I don't think any of my characters are bad per se, but I think he has the strongest overall presence compared to a lot of the other ones I made.
I can agree with that.
Agreed. All right. So, SPNatI, I know you said Maya. Do you want to
Do I want to what?
elaborate on
Marry
that?
her? Yes. And have children. She's
You
perfect
know-
marriage material, really.
I can understand where you're coming from.
She's got a good
Besides the
head on
whole-
her shoulders.
Hating you and your entire gender thing.
Look, she's starting to come around.
Huh?
Well, the only reason that I have put even a fraction of the amount of effort that I have into developing for this game is because I made Maya, and because I feel that she needs all that work on her in order to stay relevant, because no one is going to pick her otherwise. Because why would you?
Because that hot bodysuit.
Well, yeah, but if you like, people just pick Samus. Samus has a bodysuit.
Yeah, but it's not a hot bodysuit. Is Well, okay. I may be biased towards Maya since I put some help into making it, but I personally think her bodysuit looks the best out of all the characters in the
No,
game.
but SPNatI definitely has a point. A lesser known character like Maya would have to work a lot harder than an already well known and established character like Samus.
Well, because of that, it's allowed me to. Well, it's really forced me to really engage with the game. So I enjoy doing that, and if I had started with like someone like Ryuko who can succeed without that level of work, I don't think I would have gotten into it nearly as much. So I mean, it's definitely like, I don't know, it's waifu. Of course, it's going to be like my most favorite thing. I don't know if it's like if May is the best project I've worked on. I don't know. People would probably disagree on that, but or like the most appealing. But just me personally, I really like her, and whenever I'm putting forth any amount of effort or rationing out my time, like she's gonna get the most of it.
Yeah. In a similar vein to SPNatI picking Maya, I'm quite proud of the work I've put into Chiaki and Rinka. Mostly Rinka because she's my number one waifu. And I'm proud that I've been able to make such a good model after the first one I made. I think that my best character is probably Kamina, but my favorite one is always going to be Rinka. All right. Next question is, what's a character from a franchise you would most like to see made? Underscore?
Ring a Bell from Bravely Default. That's a model that I have sitting around, and I've always loved his voice and wanted to write for him, but just never done it. And if somebody else did it, I'd probably want to be in on that, but I don't expect anybody who's going to sit down and go, I want to write Ring a Bell. So that might never happen.
What character from a franchise you've contributed to would you most like to see made? Well, I think having any more Vandred characters is a little indulgent for show no one's heard of. I also, Satsuki Kiryuin from Kill la Kill. She'd be cool to see and interact with Ryuko. I just don't want to put in the effort to ever have them react because that would require a very, very in-depth level of interaction, one that I don't feel like doing. So I think what I'd most like to see is probably another Black Lagoon character. Probably ideally someone like Sawyer or Balalaika, or someone that Revi is relatively friendly with, because that would allow her to sort of have or show a side of herself that I think she doesn't get to show much. Just someone like she's always like amped up and like shitting on people, and to sort of see her with someone where she can just go like, oh hey, what's up, and not have to posture quite so much, I think would just be really fun to write, to do something a little different with her.
Well, most of the franchises I've contributed to are pretty oversaturated as is. So I think I'm going to go with either Phosphora or Medusa from Kid Icarus. I think it'd be fun to see them butt heads with the characters I made, but I wouldn't necessarily want to put in the effort to make them. So that's pretty much my stance on it.
All right. Guess this will be my last question before I have to start leaving for work.
Shit. Does that mean I have to host it?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Hey, just be glad you're not me. I have to go clean
You have to clean what?
bathrooms.
Oh God.
I'm
so sorry.
I'd say that there are characters from most of the franchises that I've contributed to, I'd like to see made, like Evangeline from Wakfu with Amalia. I'm waiting for Sutsuna from Fire Emblem. Viral is a character I think could be interesting from Gurren Lagann, while Dorian is making Mia from Gurren Lagann. And Mikan Sumiki from Danganronpa would also be interesting. Those are my answers. SPNatI, I'm passing all the flame to you. Later.
All right. See you.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh God, I hate that guy. Okay. What were we talking about? I'm a great
Next
host,
question.
aren't I? What?
Next question.
Next question. How do you decide when to update characters? _ go.
Well, that's a big problem
Too
that
slow.
many people
Cog,
are
go.
angry at me about. Oh no.
No, it's okay.
Oh, okay. I can keep going.
Yes.
Okay. I have a big problem with that. I don't update people enough.
Yeah, I'm aware.
Yeah, people are kind of grumpy about that. Like, when you're making a character, there's this win state that's always in view. You're driving towards it. You can see it on the horizon of releasing the character into the game. For an update, there's not that win state. And on top of that, a lot of the things that you're updating are usually just these minor little bugs or errors or adding some things that make it a little bit better. Like if I was to do an update, it would need to be like in a complete overhaul for me to feel super motivated to do it. Which also makes it, harder to find the motivation to actually update a character. I'm always obsessing with this idea of trying to future-proof a character, of having them be able to intelligently target using the stuff that we can do now, especially through the character editor, so that if there's some strange BS that a new character comes out with, that my character already looks like they have a targeted line to them. Oh, and that's not really easy. But that's what I've always been trying to do. So when do I decide when to update characters? I don't. I sit on my ass and make people angry at me.
All right. Well, since you're in the process of not updating characters, I like the look of that Amy model. Although she should have
Yeah.
the feathers on her hawk rifle, and not
Yep,
just
see,
the default
that's another
Kisake
thing.
AK-47.
That's waiting, as I need to make gun cleaver for.
All right, Cog, you're up to bat.
It's mostly just whenever I feel like I'll get bug reports and I might notice little glaring issues throughout the games I play, but I don't have all the free time in the world, so it's mostly just whenever I feel like sitting down to do it. Like, I do want to genuinely make my characters better, but there's a certain level of management that has to go on between allotting time for improving my current characters and a lot of time for working on other projects. So I guess to summarize, it's just whenever I have the available time for it.
All right, well, from yours truly. I guess this is because I'm always playing catch up, but I'm never really not in a state of updating my characters. I always have some. I know what I feel like I have a win state for them because I always have like a written list of, or like a backlog of, like, I want to target this, this, and this. I want to respond to all these characters. I want to make sure they're all up to date and good, and I want to change these poses, and I just cross them all off. So I'm just in a constant state of like, moving from one index card to the next in terms of like a list of all this shit that I want to do for him.
Sounds like a good strategy.
Yeah, so it's never like I decide, I'm going to update Maya today. It's just like, well, that's what I have the time for now. And it's all this shit that I've wanted to do for 2 months. So I have time to do it. So I guess we'll see if my tune changes if and when I ever catch up. Which, God, that's a long way off. But hey. All right. Which do you think is more valuable? Updating your current characters or creating new ones? So, bit of a spin off of the previous question, but yeah. Would you rather make new projects or update your current ones? So let's start with you, underscore, who, well, you've done very little of both.
Oh, well, I feel like this is kind of just part B of the previous answers. I love making the new characters. I feel like adding the new experience adds more to the game than just updating the same character that everyone's already played. Oh, like no offense against somebody like you, SPNatI, who takes it at the exact opposite angle, I believe. But I feel like just polishing a single character, well, it doesn't really do much for people coming back for more. I feel like having a new character waiting for them and a new experience would be better for the game. And I kind of enjoy it too, because then I get to have variety and work on new things.
That's fair. Cog?
I definitely think there's some value on both angles. Like, you want to keep your characters relevant, but you also want to give players new experiences. So I think there's definitely advantages to either side, but I think overall I'd have to give it to creating new content, because I think overall that way you can reach a broader audience. Because say you make one character and that character falls into a niche, you really won't hit every demographic with that niche. But if you work on more stuff, then there's a chance you'll get more people to play your content. So while I see the appeal in updating characters, and I do it all the time, but I definitely think there's more value in making new content for the game.
Well,
And how will SPNatI respond to this coup?
this coup? Am I being overthrown?
Yes, your throne is now belongs to I guess everyone. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't understand.
Well,
All right,
then-
well, moving on. Well, let's see. Updating current characters or creating new ones. So, underscore very kindly described me as basically the poster child for tall before wide in terms of character development. Or most of what I do is updating my current characters. I can say on a personal level, yeah, I enjoy updating my current characters because I enjoy having that sort of structure already in place, and being able to simply iterate on something, because it's very rare that I make something that I'm happy with the first time. So I don't enjoy creating new characters as much, because I know I'm just going to go back and change them again. And in the meantime, my other characters are not engaging with new releases, which is something that I think is both easier and more fun than building it all up again from scratch. And I guess compared to a lot of people, there's just not a whole lot of characters that I want to see or that I want to make in particular. I'd rather just like continuously try to force people to love my waifu and watch her show. And just trying to give people the very first the very best first impression of that character. And like, I totally get that. I'm not gonna say, like, I enjoy that. I'm not gonna say it's more valuable for the game or the development community. Like, yeah, it's probably more valuable to more people to make like a popular character and to make a whole bunch of characters, because most, you can update a character endlessly, but most people and the mods have revealed basically don't play any one character more than once or twice. So all you're doing for updating a character is trying to make that best first impression, because they probably won't make too many other impressions. So yeah, like, there's probably more value overall in making new characters. I just don't enjoy that. I'd rather just continuously polish some waifu that nobody cares about, but I do, and that's enough for me. All you people who want your popular waifus, like, I gave you Ryuko Matoi. If that's not good enough, then you can fuck off.
If it's any consolation,
what?
If it's any consolation, your characters are the ones that I tend to go back to if I need to throw somebody along with a new character that I'm testing out or something. Is because
nice.
I feel like I'm going to be getting new content with you every time that I load in Maya or Jura or Revi or blah 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 blah.
Well, they're just but you're not most people. You know?
I am only one person. Yes, I am.
You're not most players who don't test the new releases. They just play whatever whenever. But yeah. So yeah, I understand if you want to cast a wider net and make more waifus. You probably get more appreciation overall, but I don't give a shit what other people think. As far as that goes. I just want you to love this character, and that's all I care about. So, everyone's good on that? What's your favorite obscure case to write for? Something that players won't see often, but you can't help but write a ton for. Underscore?
Well, I love doing this. At the same time, I also am highly critical of my love of doing this. So I've argued back and forth on it with myself.
You made a character where like a third of the time they won't even see the given images.
Yeah.
Or 2/3 of the time.
I really like having my characters respond to winning streaks and losing streaks. And multi-mail tables and stuff like that. Like, I'm probably going to have like one person in a million ever actually see it, but I just added a long sequence to Ruby for where she's keeping count of how many wins she's had in a row, and after 15, she starts getting bored and apologizing. But you have to have her win 15 times in a row while there's no other Ruby characters in the game. When is anybody going to see this? Probably never, but it's there. It's there, and she's got about 10 lines that she'll start saying after she's won 15 times in a row, where she's kind of bored now. So, I also like targeting towards obscure tags and characters and stuff like that. I've never actually released it, but I've written a bunch of lines for Amy to make fun of bald characters. And I guess now we can have a bald player character that she can make fun of.
Mm-hmm. Do we have any bald characters?
We have no bald characters except the player character.
Mr. Clean.
Oh, hey, we do.
All right, put Amy with Mr. Clean.
Yes. Ship it.
Well, hey, at least you know he doesn't have a disease.
Cog?
I think my favorite case of target is probably the various Makuru selfies. Because I just like to think of the fun reactions my characters would have to the other characters suddenly bunching up and like just taking the various pictures. Especially all the little deviations like the ones for like Haru or Pit or what have you. I just like to think of what's going through their heads at that time. Pretty much nobody's ever going to see it, but I just like to make them anyway for the odd chance that they do happen.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that. Like, there's lines for Natsuki. In Mass, Hicks and I have been talking about what collectibles Natsuki should have for when that update rolls out. But one of the things that we were considering was that Natsuki's got these obscure lines that she only says when Futaba and Zone are talking to each other about porn, about tentacle porn. And you have to load her with Zone Tan and Futaba, and they have to say that line. When is anybody going to see Natsuki getting super embarrassed about tentacle porn? I really like that those lines are in there, but it's super obscure. Yeah, you're right about that. Targeting other people, targeting people is one of my secret little line things that I love doing too.
See, I don't like doing that too much because it just feels like you're kind of third wheeling it. Like you should be bringing your own unique interactions instead of just like piggybacking off of someone else's. But what I really like is just like really like conditional stuff, like certain gender ratios, like putting a woman with like an all male table or something like that, or one thing I really like is a set of lines for if my character gets into a one-on-one, like it's just down to them and one other person. So you have when they recognize that, and then like when they win or when the opponent wins, just stuff like that. Like that would be pretty rare to occur, especially with someone like Maya when she only has 5 layers. Doesn't matter how good her AI is. It's hard to last like that. But so there's that stuff. There's also like, even on the most obscure targeted interactions, I never want to put just one line. I always want to put a few. So the chances of seeing any one line in particular there is pretty damn small, especially with how specific some of those interactions are.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of just having that kind of infinite replayability because of how long it would take to get all those lines to play. I love doing those little combo interactions where it can be tough to make happen, but you can take it in so many directions, like Revi and Maya getting into a fist fight and seeing everyone's reactions to that. I love it when people target that. And that right there, that takes 3 people, 3 specific characters, and the interaction itself is pretty rare. And there's like so many lines on that case, but just being able to play them forever and still seeing new stuff. Like I can go back and read the lines that I've written for characters now, and like, I wrote this? I don't fucking remember. I just write it and then I move on. So, anyone else have anything to say?
Not without getting off topic.
All right, let's move right on. Well, we've never gotten off topic before.
Oh, no, perish the thought.
So,
Of course not.
what's the difference in final characters you've observed between solo and group SPNatI characters? Now, this is a little weird. I assume that what this is asking is, so between a solo project and a collaborative project, like how do you think they turn out in general? So, go ahead, underscore.
I started answering that in my what do I think about these questions before the podcast comes on notes, a different direction, where I was thinking instead of the final character just like the work process. But I guess final characters, I would say that the collabs have more tendency to be more of an average between the different visions for the character, which can benefit other players, because when you're stuck in your own head thinking about a character, it's easy to write a line that makes sense to you. But then your coworkers can take a look at that line and go, "The crap are you talking about? Underscore, that's insane," and you get that feedback immediately as soon as they see the bullshit you just worked on. So your character becomes a bit more understandable if you've got other people looking over your shoulder telling you when you're full of shit.
Cog.
I think he hit the nail on the head.
I mean, both of you have like actually done collaborative projects. I have not.
Coward.
So,
I think the majority of my projects at this point have been collabs. But yeah, I think on the one hand, you can have a division on the direction you want the character to go, and that could lead them to becoming a master of none type of character. On the other, it could enhance their personality to the point where it feels like they have just a ton of presence in the game and just overall enhances them. So I think overall it just depends on like how in sync the creators are and just the type of character in general they're working on. The results will vary, basically.
I know that characters that I've worked on solo, which is basically, well, come to think of it, only 2 characters I've worked on solo. When I released them, were a lot more oh shit kind of responses. Like the only characters that I've worked on by myself that did not involve picking up somebody else's work and continuing it or working in collaboration have been Amy and Vriska. And Amy was like, she got a good response from people, but it's also a undercurrent of negative, well, now you've introduced must targets, fuck you kind of response. And then when I introduced Vriska, it was a very polarized response, especially at first. And I think that's an example of how a single person's vision can make a character very, very directed towards a single thing, but can also make the rest of the community, maybe just for me, be kind of pissed.
sort of the George Lucas problem.
Yeah,
where you have nobody to question you. And
yes,
your weird
I have
fucking
made
ideas.
I should work on Misa next. What's his name? Flapjack ears.
Jar Jar Binks.
That's him. That's my next character.
Are you?
I think Mouse has a model.
I think he might fail the human anatomy test.
That is racist, and you should be ashamed.
I think Mouse has a model.
If that makes me a racist, then
That's right. I think that is. It's either Mouse or one of the other great Kisake people. Obviously, I
if
think
that
it
makes
was
me a
Mouse.
racist, then it's time to put on the hood, because
Okay.
that's where I draw a line in the sand. Jar Jar Binks.
Well, just imagine how his long tongue would feel caressing you on your cheek and other places.
Well, if you want to put the mods into that compromising position, then go ahead. Have fun with that, Cog. I'm going to. Yeah, you can report back from the mod chat discussion on
The first fully
situation.
voiced.
Put the work on Pat.
Local man makes Jar Jar Binks still at large.
3 dead.
All suicides. Okay. Well, I have to speak from an outsider's perspective here, because I haven't really done any true collaborative projects. It really depends on the people involved. There are some group projects that are really expedient, and everyone does what they're supposed to, and it gets through super quick. And there are other ones where one person, Yuri, takes way too long with some aspect of it, and it takes like a year.
Or circumstances like not just that, but like where they don't really know who's in charge of what.
Yeah.
So everybody's waiting for somebody else to do something, and then nobody does, and nobody's taking charge, and there's no leader of the project, or if there is a leader, they don't know they're the leader.
Where people just disappear off the face of the earth.
Yeah. So
Bystander
things
effect.
just get stalled as everybody's going like, well, I thought so-and-so was supposed to do that.
So yeah, solo characters might end up a little more niche, but I wouldn't say that collab characters end up like any more like or any less obscure. You definitely still have like collab characters that are just like, who the fuck is this? Or at least sort of like well-known franchises, but weird picks from that franchise.
Mhm.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like someone like, I don't know, Laura Shell. Like, who the fuck is that? It's the girl from the Holy Woman Beat You Senseless image. That's who she is. Anyway, all good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, well, we're in the home stretch. 2 questions left. Definitely a shorter episode than in a couple in the past. It'll be under 3 hours handily.
Ooh.
Unless we want to talk for 50 minutes about these 2 questions.
Let's do it.
Okay, so this one definitely not written by Napsu, despite having no capitalization and using the letter U for the word you. But how would you involve more female-oriented content? Well, underscore, as a woman yourself, why don't you go ahead and how would you appeal to women?
Well, I mean, you say that, but I like usually play as a woman when I'm playing this game. But
Why?
I think there's actually it appeals to me. There's actually like 2
Why?
like different angles and keep your muzzle on to answering this question is because there's sexuality questions. Like you could be asking this question for straight women or for bisexual or gay women who are interested in women. I mean, for straight women, obviously, there just needs to be more men is the main thing. And for the bisexuals, then you would just need to keep in mind that the protagonist can be female, and you should probably write something for that. I see a lot of characters where the protagonist is just treated neutrally or suddenly has a lot less content when it's written as a female character. As a female protagonist character person. But then there's also the whole, I mean, treat the characters as human beings kind of thing too, where this character, yeah, they fit the sexual niche, but you know, diversify them a little bit more than that. They're not just sex. That I feel like could be added to a lot of characters.
All right, Cog.
Anyway, that's my 3 cents.
As for my end of it, I don't really know a good way to go about it because I don't know the mindset of the average female player. Like I have hit to appeal to the straight crowd, and I do add a little bit of fluff on my other characters for the bi and gay crowd, but I don't really know a good way to pursue like any specific angle in general. I suppose I could like do some epilogue updates to like make them more engaged. I know a few of my characters have gotten criticisms for that. So I think I might do that, but overall I just don't know a good way to do it without asking them directly.
Well, we do have some women in the community. They've been on this podcast, although Napsu has not, despite numerous efforts. So you can ask them directly.
It feels kind of like calling out, though, to say, hey, can you please inject female into my worldview, please?
It's sort of like going to the token black guy and being like, how do I appeal to your people?
Yeah, yeah.
It's kind of mildly condescending.
And for the most part, I think that it's just like you need to sit down and think, well, okay, just keep in mind various things about being a woman, and you got this. But it makes you so nervous to think like that, because what if I'm leaving something out? What if there's a third nipple I don't know about? A secret female nipple or something like that.
Well, my first advice is to pick characters that would logically be into girls. And I think Maya, Jura, and Revi have pretty much all indicated that to some degree or another. Ryuko and Mako is kind of just like, well, it's there a little bit, but it's sort of ambiguous. Yeah. Just like the season 2 OP. But
yeah, that's another thing that
I mean, you got to pick the right characters for female appeal and stuff. But
there's some characters that I've seen that just like male character, they have I'm generically attracted to you, amorphous blob. And then when you choose a female character, they sometimes have reduced content, and then other times basically just have a haha, I'm not sexually attracted to you kind of personality show up. And it's like, well, I mean, like, even if this character is canonically straight, there is absolutely nothing crooked at all about their characterization. There's no bi-curiosity or anything like that. You can still at least leave that ambiguous. You don't have to have your character flirting with somebody, but try to have some content in there that still establishes them as straight, but is still, appealing. I don't know. That feels like I'm telling some people to do two things: to do it and don't do it at the same time.
I just don't make straight characters. Problem solved. I also give them epilogues, which I think female epilogues are something that's really lacking. Like you have like the Street Fighter girls, for example. They have great epilogues. Fantastic art, very really interesting and creative posing. But they're for males only. And for a lot of that, I feel like it's just a few. It really wouldn't take that long to just make a few quick edits, and there you go. That's a female version. Just kind of throw them a bone.
Like
it's not that much of a change.
The Natsuki Pit epilogue that Cog and I were working on, we made sure that it could be done for both genders. Oh, and it was definitely envisioned more with a male in mind, but it's just a slight change that was necessary to just open it up to both.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's
it's
all
really
you really
not that
need
hard
to do.
To be inclusive in that regard. Mm-hmm. Like it's just please. Well, I say this as someone who doesn't really like toys, but like, please don't just like change a penis to a strap-on. Because that's just lame. I'm not into that.
It doesn't really seem like. It seems like something that would only show up in porn for straight men. Having a girl with a strap-on.
It's just like, how many girls have a strap-on lying around,
Well, I mean, almost every SPNatI bisexual character does. So
Not mine. They just use their hands, I don't know. Maybe I'm just more into girl on girl than other people, but it's like, just get a little hand action. It's more intimate. Just kind of picture what would be hot in your mind and be like, all right, put that on the screen.
And
you don't have to overthink it.
Strap-on blowjobs are the most useless things ever, so never have that appear.
I just hate plastic in general.
Nobody is enjoying that.
There's nothing sexually appealing about plastic in any regard.
Well, that's not quite true.
It's true to me.
Anyway.
Moving on. All right. Anyone else know how to involve female-oriented content? I'm sure we've disappointed the asker.
Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Asking 3 men.
If only Johan was here to provide the female perspective.
Exactly. Well, it pretty much has the frame of a woman. Let's see. Final question. If you were to go back in time to when you started working on SPNatI, and that's farther back for you two than me, would you make all the same characters? You know, like would you go through the same sort of development process and timeline that you did, knowing what you know now? So underscore. Let's finish this up with a little introspection.
I think that if I was starting over from the beginning, if like I can't imagine any other way that this would work, but with my memories from doing things in the past, there probably wouldn't be an Amy or a Vriska in the game. I might get roped into Natsuki again, but like I'd want to do different things. Like I talk big about, the player experience, but there's also my experience of I don't want to have to rewrite something that I've already done. Oh, also my models would be hella impressive from the get-go. Just saying.
I remember you'd have to work with like Kisuke version 40.
Yeah. But
remember
but
when
I
we
know
couldn't
all these
mirror
little
belts?
tricks that I know now. Oh God.
No image imports.
God, that feels like that's like base Kisuke. How can you release an initial Kisuke without mirroring belts?
It wasn't that long ago.
God.
We didn't have hands 56 and 57, which are awesome.
Just tens.
I know, they really are.
They feel like they're a little bit too small to me.
That's just Kisuke hands in general.
Yeah, but like I don't know. Anytime that the hand turns sideways, it feels like it gets shorter.
Well, the arm gets thinner.
Yeah, it might be that. Anyway, that's my answer. Cog?
I think I'd mostly keep everything the same. I'd keep probably 5 out of my 6 characters. I'd still make Palutena, Pit, Mahiru, Arshel, probably Coco. The only one I'd probably change up would be Mia, since in hindsight I don't like her very much. So I'd probably redo her and replace her with a different piece of material. But yeah, overall I'd more or less keep to the timeline as is.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I liked making Ryuko, but I think I said on previous podcasts, I just started working on her at a bad time where I was really busy. So it really set me back in terms of like updating my other characters, and I'm still feeling the effects of it now. I definitely would still make Maya, start with Maya, and I'd know what a hairpiece was this time, so her model from the start could be much better. Again, still feeling the effects of that. I don't know if I would have made Jura. She kind of just started off as like a companion to Maya because I just was really inexperienced with her voice, and like I wasn't really sure how to make her interesting or to really convey who she was because she's so stoic and doesn't want to share stuff about herself. So my uncreative mind was like the only way to do that was to have someone that knows her already. You know,
I mean,
kind of
that's
spill
a
the
very
beans.
effective. That's a very effective way of doing it. Congrats.
People have really responded to Jura and really engaged with her, and that's great. But I do think it's a little indulgent having two so closely related obscure characters like that, and that kind of do the same thing. So it probably wouldn't have made her. Probably just would have spent that time really polishing my Kisuke skills with Maya and really focusing on that because like right out of the gate like that, sort of I was sort of putting myself in a hole in terms of like updating Maya because or like learning Kisuke stuff because I was using all those undeveloped skills that I had for making Maya and now making another character. And I think I just started her way too quick. You know, you're still on that initial like new dev high of like you just want to make everything. You know, and you got to take a step back. It definitely would have still made Revy. I think working on Revy. Well, it's the closest I think I've had to a collab because I've been working with somebody else's work, but it helped me make better models, I think, because I was dissecting with a model that I didn't make, or working with a model I didn't make and looking at the pieces. And I think she just really taught me how to inject a lot of life into lines, because you have to with a Revy. Can't waste the line with a Revy. All right. I think that concludes our discussion. That's all our questions. Not too many this time. I don't know how many of them were E. I don't know if people still do that.
Probably.
It's a shame that Johan died. Boy, it really sucks having to read out all these questions. Normally, I can just sit back and let him do it. But it looks like I'll have to do it from now on because he's cleaning bathrooms and
It's just in purgatory. He's dead now.
he won't make it back, I'm afraid.
Congratulations on your promotion to main host.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wasn't it awesome how you beheaded him?
I'll have to pick a new Vice mod.
Married his waifu. Took the throne.
It's a political marriage. I have no attraction to Rinka. My concubine Maya will always be my true love. But
well, that's just going to cause a civil war for your children in the future. I've seen enough Roman history about that.
Now, does anyone have any final thoughts? Any shameless plugs they'd like to throw out there before I conclude things? Because, God, I'm tired.
Nope, I'm done.
I'll give a shout to Johan for helping organize the Heroes update. And also go play Lars Shell.
Give a shout out to Johan for doing all the hard work on these podcasts while I sit back and scratch my ass. But seriously, fuck that guy.